either, you know. And we'll get into all that. Hey, Laura Ivy, what's going on, sis? I still have your package sitting on my desk because I'm waiting for a piece of Libyan desert glass to put in. So, good to see you, sis. Go ahead and share it out. Tag some folks you might think will like this information. So, there's a lot of stuff since the TikTok boom, since COVID. I've been saying for years, all the crystals have been unearthed for a reason. There's a lot of pop-up crystal sellers. There's a lot of people selling stuff they don't even know. There's a lot of rumors going on that if a crystal breaks, it's done its job or it's no good. You know, and I'll talk about all that stuff. Welcome from Scotland. Welcome from Scotland. And, you know, there's a reason I don't cleanse my crystals. Although we're sitting in my office and you see the moon, I kept this big plate glass door. So the crystals are charged by the moon, and I do sound all the time, so there's crystal healing. And because there's so many crystals in this room, like, I do take the time to put the right crystals with the right energies, but nothing's getting drained, you know. And people always talk about, how do you know if it's ethical, you know. And we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. Welcome to the stream, Caitlin. Still paying my yoga tube training master. Cannot wait to buy more crystals. Awesome. Yeah, we've got some really resourceful people in our group that charge appropriately for such stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. So there's a reason I don't per se drag all of my crystals out into the moonlight. I've heard things like people say bury them, you know, when they're broken, put them in moonlight, put them in water. Some stuff can't be in water. There's even sweat stuff that, as women, we can't put them in our bras. You can't put velveteen malachite in your bra. I saw this the other day, and this is the kind of stuff that made me say, you know what, I'm going to have to go ahead and jump on here and talk about and break some crystal myths. So, myth number one, you can only cleanse your crystals by moon, or burying them, or sage, or incense, or selenite. Selenite is, what that is selenite is the only crystal that never needs to be charged, but there are others, like Herkimer diamonds. There are other fully crystalline, and it all depends on, like, scientific composites and what makes crystals, minerals, and rocks, and we'll talk about that, what's the difference. So I'm going to try to cover a lot, you know, in the next hour, so hang on to your seatbelts, and then at the end, if we have time, I'll take some questions. So, the reason I believe that it's not necessary for us to cleanse our crystals, you know, if you use it and you're a healer for specific energy work, yes. But if you're using it with you and you don't have others touching your crystal, surely. But as humans, like, crystals vibrate at a higher frequency, way higher than us. And humans can't reach that frequency. We can't affect the crystal. The crystal comes into our auric field and affects us. It affects us, you know. And people that you know with these kind of questions, go ahead and send them this for the replay, because we're going to go over a lot of stuff. Hey, what's up, Majestic? I can only stay for a few minutes, have to rewatch. No worries, Sarah Top. So we vibrate, crystals vibrate a way higher frequency than humans. And us being all water and minerals and bone and thing, yes, when they come in, they're able to affect our energetic field. It's not the other way around, you know. The higher the energy of the frequency, it's so many are self-charging and self-cleansing, like so many. You know, so if you look at the frequency of different crystals and how they vibrate, and I'll go into also how they say, well, crystals don't work, but they do. They run our cell phones, our TVs, our watches, so many things that people are just ignorant about, you know. And that's what we're here for, to pop and bust myths. So if you have any questions at the end, I'll surely take them. But like malachite, Herkimer diamonds, tanzanite, another high vibe, crystal dendrite, these kind of things, there's no way we can affect their energy by being in our presence. They change us in our auric field. We don't change them. They simply, you know, instead of absorbing the energy like people think with crystals, and if you ask in meditation, it's different. I'm talking about negative energy. They deflect it. they're Gaia's tears. They've been formed through millions of years of uploads from Gaia herself coming from the ground, and we know they help us, and they've been being unearthed at extreme rates. But it's not the other way around. They deflect. You know, there's so many different crystals that, you know, if you take it into your space, it deflects negative energy. You know, there's crystals that help with healing, circulatory stuff. It's never a full solution. I'll never say that. It's always a guide and helpful. You know, but if you think, you know, I'll do one on Moldavite completely and all the rumors that Moldavite is going to change your life and destroy your life and all these crazy things. Uploads and downloads. I'll talk about those at another time. Jolie, actually, matter of fact, DM me questions that you want to see on these episodes, because I'd love to talk about that. But staying on topic, because, let me say it one more time, because we're human, we cannot affect their energy frequency. There is no need to cleanse them. Unless you're a healer and you're using a crystal for a specific meridian or chakra. In your own practice with your crystals, it's a unity, it's becoming one. There's nothing that you can do to that crystal that's millions of years old. You know, if you guys want to rebuttal it, you can let me know. I mean, some people believe, but it's crazy. Burning crystals, burying crystals, they just got out of Gaia and into the light. It's like putting a baby back into a womb. What for? What for? You know? Yes, you can absolutely, you can co-create with your crystals. That's charging intentions, and I can do a whole episode on that as well. Just DM me. You can co-create, absolutely, and you can set intentions. Dreams about crystals is a whole nother episode, but you can absolutely co-create with your crystal and set intentions and things like that. But as far as letting go rituals and different things, that's bay leaves and fire and different minerals like salt and mugwort and those kinds of things. So yeah, it does make so much sense. So, you know, I see people on TikTok going viral talking about, you gotta burn this and do that and bury this and drag. I mean, if I had to drag my crystals out into the sunlight to be charged, folks, it would be, I would have to hire people, and it would be a 2-day event, pre-moon, full moon. You know, I open my windows, they get sound, you know, they get sound from crystal quartz, and everybody talks about the energy of my crystals, you know, when they open them. They're surrounded by their friends, man. You know, like, we're setting up for the table, we've got crystals, there's hundreds of pounds of crystals behind this thing. Let's go ahead and shed some light on the situation. I mean, I have crystals for days and days and days, and, you know, I have them by region and by energy separated, alphabetical on the tumbles. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't stop. And over here is all the raws, you know, and then there's all kinds through here. So I'm literally surrounded at all times by crystals. Speaking of Vandanite, I want to pull this out because some of this stuff needs to be talked about. So, you know, with that being said, guys, the crystals, they're in their own energies. They're organized, they're happy, they're surrounded by sage, they get moonlight, they get talked to, all the things. But none of it's necessary. The crystals come into us and shift our vibration. It's not the other way around. Okay? We can't affect that crystal. You know, so when you see a crystal at Ross or Home Goods, and you're like, you know, it's a pretty crystal, know that Ross and Home Goods, there's no way they can find out how or where the crystal came from. You know? But can the shipping and moving around affect the energy of the crystal? No. The people touching the crystal? Maybe. So, at best, if you get it from there or somewhere else, maybe. But as far as, like, when you're getting from verified sellers who have reviews everywhere, and they've been in business and followings, you're going to be all right. Like me, I don't like to handle the crystals too much because I don't want to discourage and absorb any of the energies into my work field. So when they go to their homes, they're ready to work and are comfort and are whatever they're supposed to do. So, that's why I say there's never need to clean them. Another big one is when a crystal's broke, it's done its job. But did it? Who are we to know? Crystals can crack from so many different things. Literally, if you've ever had a crystal crack in your bra, as soon as you get it out, the heat can sometimes affect things like quartz. First time with you, I'm saving to catch the replay. There you go, Linda. Welcome to the stream. But it isn't always a sign that something happened energetically or the crystal did its job. Sometimes crystals break because they're softer side or they were fractured upon shipping. They can be banged against something and dropped. Especially in your pockets when you're dropping keys and stuff on them. It doesn't mean that what it means, I'll tell you what it means. It means you got 2 crystals now. You don't have to bury it. It didn't do its job. We cannot affect crystals like that. Okay? Breathe in the crystal energy and breathe in myself out for even energy. Yeah, energy exchange. I meditate with my crystals. I put them on meridians and chakras. I do all of the things. Best that I can, as far as what I've learned. And, I've read plenty of crystal healer books, even took a half of a crystal healer certification thing, and then I was like, this is bullocks. They're charging me for stuff I know intuitively, and some of the stuff they're saying is not right. I have a relationship with my crystals like a lover almost. I hand curate them, I pick them, I get test crystals before I put them on my site, and I educate, because there are sellers out there that are douchebags that give sellers like me a bad name, and that's real, and I'm going to hit some of that later. Yeah, because it took a hit for us. Yes, we can, when it comes into our energy, it shifts our energy. Us affecting their energy, it's a crystalline molecular structure, which I'm going to explain. So because I live in a crystal cave, I'm hyper. I'm happy most of the time. It's hard to have a bad day. I love what I do. And I'm constantly surrounded by piezoelectric, which I'm going to get into thirdly, of why crystals work, beyond science, and they've been used since time in Vedic literature, in Muslim literature, in Christian literature. It's not witchcraft, it's just, rocks since time in human beings. Everything from bowls to carvings to the pharaohs, specialty gems and jewels. They've been around since time. I was taught, if you lose, forget, because the crystal is really journey with you and is meant to be found by someone else. It's maybe that us humans should be a lot more careful with our crystals. So I carry stuff like little cages. They're $4 so you can put your crystals around your neck. I've lost so many pocket pieces. And moldavite, it jumps in and out of couches and under beds. Crystals do that kind of thing, but I also feel like at the same time it's partially human error. If you lose, forget the crystal, it's complicated, it's journey, and it's meant. Absolutely. Like, I gift crystals, as you guys know, all the time. But without knowing stuff like how large the stone is, what shape, specifically, was it in your bra at what time? Was there physical stress under the stone at the time? Were you sweating? Was there heat? Stuff like that. Was the chain you were wearing old? Did it have a stress fracture before you dropped it or bumped it? There's a whole lot of stuff. I'm a hand slammer, and I had so many hematite rings break because I do that, and all it takes is a couple things and it can crack. Now, Mohs Hardness, like anything, a crystal above 7 and above is harder. Like you know, diamonds and Herkimer diamonds and danbrite and rose quartz, amethyst, quartz, quartz geodes. Those things are real hard to break, but I can tell you what, I've had a 20-pound smoky scepter explode on me when I opened it, and here's what happened. So they left it on my porch in the sunlight. It was probably in a truck hot, so as soon as it hit oxygen, like, and that can sometimes be dangerous. So when I open those big things on hot days, I'll cut the bubble and then open and see. You know, there's so many different factors. I mean, literally, if you take a hammer and you bang it on quartz, you're going to see sparks. You understand? Like, and then if you have a quartz, just like any other magnifier, when you were a little kid and you did the magnifying glass and you put your eye through and you held it real tight with the sun through it, if you held it steady, what happened? It would burn a hole through the little piece of paper. Same thing with quartz. If you have a place where the sun sets in your house and you have quartz in your window, you know, stuff, you know, like, make sure it's no more than 2 hours of sunlight. So this is the kind of stuff that people need to just pay attention to. You know, and there's, like, you can't put certain things in sunlight. Sure, amethyst, but what do you guys think? After it comes out of the dirt, them mountains sit in the sun. You know, sunlight can affect, it's more water, you know what I mean? I've had crystals in windows for years that have not, you know, sunstone, fluorites, quartz, but you got to make sure that it goes around in shade. This reminds me of a meme with a crystal ball. Right on. So this is why I'm having Mythbusters. And you guys brought up some good points today, and I will try to get to them if we have time at the end, which we're still doing good. We got 30 minutes left. And just DM me about anything, you know, you would want me to go live about. But this was pretty important to me. And, you know, when I tell you that the crystal game has changed, like, I've got some things to show you that I've been collecting that I was going to do a documentary about. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. What is this? I was under the impression I was buying phosphorite, but it smells and feels like chalk and crumbles. Okay, first off, phosphorite is purple. That's thing one. Part two is if you see something that doesn't look, it looks man-made pink with chalk-like structures, that's a hint. Now, there are even malachites that you break open and that's what you'll get inside. But here's the thing. Other crystal sellers like myself, who literally, like, I just got a whole bag of malachite in and I took a razor to it. Roxana's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I check everything because I know what is the most forged crystals in the industry. I made it my business to know. I'm not your normal crystal seller. I sell rarities, oddballs, heavy pieces, museum grade, right down the basic tumbles because I love it. You know, and I would like to keep our industry pure. That's an example one. And I'm going to show you another example of something that's pretty terrifying. Okay, and let's do it again. Okay, I got my magic mail today, carnelian. I tried and I failed. No, she didn't fail. She did not fail. Okay, let's see if the light helps. She did not fail. The seller failed. That's green onyx. That is not carnelian. You know, and I have post after post like this. You know, just so many different kinds like that. So, here's my advice overall. My overall advice is, before you buy from someone, I don't care if it's Etsy, a Facebook store, Instagram store, a website, make sure they have reviews. It doesn't matter. I'm Anime Minerals across the board. My website, my Etsy, my Facebook store, my Instagram store, all of them have reviews. Over 50. Well, not Etsy yet, because I just started, and that's where my museum grade stuff goes. But, you know, turquoise, malachite, moldavite. I just did moldavite and malachite last week, and I showed you what fake malachite versus real moldavite and where it comes from, plume, and all those different things. That's on my YouTube. Let me see if I can type it while I'm live, and I'll put my link tree in the comments and pin it. And that way you guys can catch different replays, and it's on the YouTube. And this episode will be up on the YouTube within a few days. And I'm usually on 7 p.m. every other Friday, but this week I'm going away, so I'm on here earlier. Let me pin my comment there, pin the comment, and there we go. So I also have a surprise at the end. Last time I did a source-guided intention crystals and crystals of what people need. This week I'll let you guys know what are in these bags for a crazy cool price, and it's for you know, group members only, and so are these streams. So if you're a group member and this is your first time, welcome to this. What's up, Sharon Rayner? So the last and final thing that we need to talk about is the part about crystals don't work. That's just bullocks. You know, it's complete bullocks. And we're going to go ahead so you guys don't have to do the research, because you know, it's good to tag non-believers too, husbands and all that. And I'll tell you, it's right out of Google, besides my personal experience. So let's get that. Quartz crystals. Let's turn off that. Quartz crystals are also common components in devices like cell phones, television receivers, and of course, watches and clocks. Of course, because quartz keeps time, guys. The vibration of the quartz keeps the time, you see. One major reason quartz is used so many electronic devices is because it's piezoelectric, meaning it generates an electric charge which, when pressure exerted upon it, keeps a rhythm. Okay? So, anybody who says crystals don't work, just tell them look up piezoelectric. If they have a cell phone, say without your cell phone, without crystals, your cell phone wouldn't work. And what's used in our cell phones is something called liquid crystal. And that's liquidized crystal quartz to make all the things beepity-bop around there in your phone. I got mine on selenite, right on. So now, let's go ahead and take some questions from you guys. Anything you may want, and I'll tell you guys the deal. And the deal is, you guys message the business page and just type water tourmaline deal in Business Messenger, Anime Minerals. So everybody gets 3 pieces of water tourmaline in a bag. And you know, I do crazy stuff. Retails about $77 for anyone on this live right at this minute, which I see 22. 22 may claim in the business or in our VIP. Now, keep it to the business page so Roxana doesn't get confused. Just say water tourmaline deal now. And just go ahead, jump in and out, go to the business page, and these will be added to your bags for Tuesday. And because I got 2 pounds of it, I decided to do a cool giveaway. Yeah, that's a hell of a steal. Most people don't ever get to have water tourmaline in their life. It is C grade, but it's gorgeous, and it's pinks and greens, and I always do something fun regarding the water-soluble crystals. Okay, we can start about that as well. So, you know, they say sometimes, you know, you can't put certain crystals in water. I mean, like if a piece of water touches it, it's going to kill it. It's not like that. I mean, you can take a warm cloth, wipe down your selenite. Like, they say the ites is what you should not put in water. Like selenite, malachite, trilobites, any kind of the ites. You know, because anything below a Mohs Hardness 4, you don't want to put too much water. So it's like, how do they tumble stuff like kyanite and jaspers and things like this a little softer? It's a different kind of tumbler with a higher grade sand. So with all that being said, you know, water soluble crystals. So think about the Mohs Hardness. So if you don't know what the Mohs Hardness chart is, I'll go ahead and put it in group. It's a level of 1 through 10 that lets you know what mineral is, how hard it is, and which I forgot to go into it. Minerals, crystals, and rocks, are they the same thing? They are. Let's see if I can't find my notes here. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Don't think I got my notes. Does that include hematite as well? It depends. Once hematite has been polished, so it also depends on, there's different grades of polish for different grades of rocks. So a good hematite is red, and when it hits the surface, the air turns grayish. Polished, it gives it a metallic look. You know, once it's been polished, it's a game changer. Just like there's yoni eggs that go inside the female, so you know, there as well, it's a different kind of polish. And also for, you know, dishwasher grade onyx bowls and stuff, because that's like a Mohs Hardness. It's also had a dishwasher friendly poly resin put on it. Suffice to say that, you know, usually say the ites. Any soft minerals you're not going to want to put in water. You know, you just don't want to. So for instance, I'll just go ahead and show you guys my fish tank with pieces of stone that have been in there that, you know, they say, well, you shouldn't put amethyst, you shouldn't put citrine. The Mohs Hardness level is about a 5. And I'm here to tell you that the 5 is okay. So let's go ahead here and shed some light on the situation. And go into, now as you guys can see, I've got amethyst, I've got quartz, I've got citrine, I've got quartz, no problems. And look how big my angelfish are. Come on guys, over here. You know, these guys are big and happy. Big guys. Turn the light off there. Beautiful babies. My invisible fish. And they love their crystals. Oh. Yeah, so pretty much, you know, I'm just out here busting myth after myth. You know, not very popular for it. But, you know, also like the myth that you can use any shungite in shungite water, you can't. You use CD grade stuff that's more like charcoal, and no, you can't. You know, it's got to be elite. Come on. So, with that kind of stuff being said, now I'm going to show you something else. You know, like really look and pay attention. So, the difference between minerals, rocks, and crystals, they're all the same thing. I mean, they literally are. A rock is a crystal that has a mineral structure, and a mineral structure is a crystal. So it's all the same. You know, although minerals, you know, like kyanite or brucite, hiddenite, some of that kind of stuff, you know, it's a mineral growth on a crystal, which is always in a matrix of the rocks. So essentially are yonis safe? They are. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. Yeah. Yonis are completely safe as long as, you know, it's the right polish. Again, it's all about the polish, you know. Yep. with no chips or vugs. Yeah. No, nobody's going to sell yoni eggs with holes anyway. I would hope not. But it's the certain kind of polish, you know. So, with that being said, we covered, for folks that say crystals don't work, literally they're in your cell phones, watches, TVs, receivers. We can't affect the crystal's energy. They come into our energy field, our auric field, and adjust our energies. We are not powerful enough to alter a crystal to the point where it's drained and it cracks and it needs to be buried. Some of this stuff is ridiculous, seriously. Yes, you don't want spots that can harbor bacteria. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is really, so we did cover the major stuff. Let me hit my notes just to make sure. And great information. You're very welcome. Last week's stream was really good as well. And again, I'll flip it around. This week's Crystal Chat group member only deal is 3 pieces of watermelon tourmaline, $22. There are only 22. You just claim them in Business Messenger, and Roxana will go ahead and throw them in your bags. A little preview of some of the cute little cauldrons that we have for this week's show and all that kind of stuff. So lastly, we're going to go ahead and talk about, I got one more slide kind of to show you, is we're going to talk about crystals versus crystal quality. Okay, and doing your research. So here we have another crystal competitor whose vandonite is D grade at best and chips. For literally more than what I carry, which are museum grade thumbnails, for $4 less. So if you are not doing your research, I mean, look at that. Comparatively. Okay, apples to apples is all of the things. All of the things. You know? And then another crazy, silly myth that I would like to break is that you can only use crystals associated with your zodiac sign. Just not true. Just not true. I don't know where some of this stuff is happening, but it seems like the kids on TikTok are screwing up all the information and all these pop-up healers, pop-up crystal sellers. I can't. So, you know, so coming to full circle, you know, we talked about, and if you didn't catch it from the beginning. There's a lot of good info. I have about, let's see here, about 15 minutes for any questions you guys have, and if it's a longer, I will take it and do it at the next episode. It was true, I wouldn't be able to use half at first. Yeah. I mean, when they say selenite and danbrite and all these kind of things don't ever need charging, malachite, crown chakra stones, essentially all crystals are that way. We are not powerful with our water-bodied selves to change a molecular structure that is indeed crystalline, created by Gaia. So, all these crazy things about burning and sage is always good, of course, but I'm talking about the ridiculousness. Like, seriously, if I had to take my crystals out every full moon, I would literally have to hire 2 moving people. You know what I mean? I play them sound. I do all kinds of things. Which ones are dangerous to put near your skin? I can tell you for days on that. So, many of things you don't want to put in your skin is raw crystals. You know, especially some of this stuff, you know? So, like cobalt and calcite would be fine, but this super, super rich cobalt and calcite, Okay, so here's what you gotta know, guys. The prettier the crystal, the higher poison content. So, for example, Bumblebee Jasper, raw, never mess with it. Malachite, raw, never mess with it. Velveteen Malachite, after you use it, wash your hands. Wolfenite, Axonite, so many different things. Too much dust particles of pyrite. So if you look at like this pyrite on barite, look at all that. Or you can look at the peacock ore on fluorite with pyrite. This thing is like, you know, and touching it like this is not going to hurt me. But you wet something like that, you know, those kind of things, and you hold it in your skin, it's not necessarily going to kill you, but some stuff can. Breathing in rock dust is you know, pretty treacherous. I'm always coughing. So, you know, we have plenty of beams in the group about that. You know, water soluble crystals. Anything below is a Mohs Hardness as well. You're not going to want to put for any long time, like selenite, kyanite, they'll just dissolve. But then again, there's some opals that hold their color in water. You know, it just takes years of practice. I would say if you're really interested, definitely grab the Book of Stones and, you know, join groups like mine. And another one I really like is something called Rock Hounds. And Rock Hounds, you know, it's, I buy a lot of stones from, you know, wholesalers that I know. Yeah, if it's actually 100% of the time, if it's polished, it's okay to wear. But if you crack a pendant, like let's say it's a Bumblebee Jasper pendant, you don't want to wear it, especially not in the shower or at the beach and stuff like that. But no, never put them in your mouth. Never put them in your mouth. There's silly rock hounds who do that, here and there. Don't get me wrong, I love rocks. There's a few rocks I've swallowed over the years to be part of me. Didn't die, but I wouldn't recommend it. Any more questions? Yeah, stuff like also like crystal quartz. Crystal quartz or rose quartz is only for romantic attraction. No, it's all relationships and love and warm hugs. Yeah, putting them as an infusion in water is never a good idea. Nope. Nope. The only thing that I would say for your crystal water bottles is where the chamber holds the crystals separate. And I mean, here's a real, we can go, you know, Dollar Tree ghetto witch and completely put them just in a small plastic satchel at the bottom of your cups and drink, you know. It's going to release minerals, and even though most of them, you know, especially with people who are putting in crystals that really should not be in water. I have some pendants I want to wear, but my baby still puts the stuff in their mouth, so I don't wear them. That's very smart. Yep, tiger's eye, it breaks. Yeah, asbestos, actually, Junior, asbestos is a lot more than just tiger's eye. It's wolfenite, pyrite, different stuff. But any more questions and any more subjects for our following shows, DM me. Again, if you want the watermelon tourmaline deal, hit the business messenger and just say watermelon tourmaline deal. I only have 22. And that's for group members only, and you guys know I love doing deals. And then, you know, the kid's going crazy. Moldavite will kill you. It'll destroy your life and all this other stuff. Okay, Moldavite is definitely an enhancer that's gonna push you to do some shadow work. Anything else is neurotic teenagers with delusions of grandeur. You know, these stories that Moldavite did this, and this in 3 days. As you get older, you know sometimes shit happens in succession. Has nothing to do with the Moldavite. If you're wearing Moldavite and you feel a little bit more energy, normal. If you have some ear ringing, normal. If you feel a desire to create, normal. If you have a desire where you're going back and you're looking at things and you want to work through it and journal, normal. None of the other stuff. It's ridiculous, you know. So I have a feeling MYTHBUSTERS, our first, this is actually second episode of Crystal Chat, but I have a feeling MYTHBUSTERS is going to be one of my favorite chats to do. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. You know, so to think, you know, that crystals are like us and have any bad intentions or negativity, or that we could affect the crystal with our water-soluble bodies, no. The answer is no. You know, if we break, it doesn't necessarily mean it took the hit or it did the job. It just sometimes means they're pressure crashing, this and that. And you don't have to bury them. You don't have to do anything. Now you have 2 crystals. You know, wrap it. I say if you have a crystal you really love that cracked, you wrap it and give it to a best friend, family member, partner. You now have 2 crystals. The crystal still has the energy. It's a crystal. It's crystalline. Nothing needs to go in the ground. It's not like a human body. Okay? It's not going to decompose. It's still going to have the same crystalline energies that it had before it broke. Okay? Just don't throw them away. Heard that about rhodonite. Right. So, you know, you guys feel free to DM me on the business page with any questions you would like to see me do an episode on. Stuff like that. I'll say it again. Watermelon tourmaline. You know, here's a preview. We got some cool little things happening. This is not nearly our table complete, because we're not till Tuesday, and I'll be away all weekend playing at the Renaissance Fair. Someone once said if you have a faded amethyst, bury it to get the color back. No. That has nothing to do with it. Also, people who talk about my crystal structure changed since it's been with me, and that will happen over a few years. So if you have a crystal ball and it's half clear and there's some phantoms and there's more cracks and phantoms, crystals react to barometric pressure, storms, the flux. It'll eventually create new cracks and things. It'll grow with you, you know, but it's real. You know, you don't bury anything the color to come back. These guys are being unearthed and being put into the light, and they're guys' gifts for a whole ass reason. You know, I'm not going to go into dissertation on that, but putting a crystal back in the ground is uncommon sense and asinine. You know? Feel free when we're done to share this to any of your crystal friends, because I would have no problem debunking right here in the comments, but it seems like we have a mature group today, which is fantastic. Yeah, guardians of the beings. It's just like so many people are seeing it as a get rich fast kind of thing, that these kids are buying from these China places, and China is very mineral rich, don't get me wrong, but it is also the best of the fakes and counterfeits in the world. And all the malachite and the bracelets and all the horse crap materials that are infiltrating the industry are coming from China. And these kids are like, oh, I just have to wait 6 weeks, and they open up their little Etsy shops, and they don't know, you know, they don't know. But unless you have a working, you know, all of my contacts, I get videos, I get shown big rocks if I want, even if I want them carved into bowls, like, you know, and then I have jewelers that I can send stuff to. So there's a lot, man. You know, and I'll be on here weekly to try to, yeah, moldavites are big too. The most common, number 1 is quartz. Number 2 is citrine. Number 3 is malachite. Number 4 is Libyan desert glass. Number 5